PointClickFish.com. Your connection to the saltwater fishing community brings you Saltwater Fishing Radio. Are you a professional tournament angler, fishing captain, or novice angler looking to learn from the pros?
Listen to live discussions from some of the best in the industry, the biggest TV fishing stars, interviews with captains, sponsors, and fishing teams.
Your trusted source for the latest tournament updates, industry news, and interviews. It's time to talk fishing with your host, Captain Jay.
And welcome to another great episode of the PointClickFish Saltwater Fishing Radio Show. Price, I tell you, we've got a special guest this evening, and we are excited.
Man, Jay, one of the things that, we always ask folks to give us feedback on shows and tell us what you like and tell us what you want. And a lot of times people always are saying, well, why don't you guys get like celebrities or athletes, former athletes, people that we recognize from TV or radio or something like that. And, Jay, I think we hit the home run with our first interview tonight.
Absolutely. No pun intended there, Price, of course, but we're definitely excited. Like you said, we get a lot of questions about, who out there fishes that you may not know that fishes, and that's something that's very exciting this evening. Our team is excited to welcome former New York Yankees star shortstop, 1978 World Series MVP, Bucky Dent. Bucky, I tell you, we are excited to have you on the show. And first of all, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Oh, anytime, man. I love to talk fishing. I grew up in Florida and grew up on boats, around boats, fishing. And I did a lot of fishing, bass fishing, saltwater fishing. So I'm excited to be on here with you guys, man. Some of those pictures you sent me of the big redfish you caught, oh, my God, I'd love to try that.
Well, we'll definitely have to make sure you get up here with us and go chase those old drum with us here in the Neuse River, North Carolina. That's actually the show will air on the Outdoor Channel where we filmed that with Mark Davis here in January. So that we'll have to send you the show and then have you come up here and experience it for yourself.
Oh, I'd love to do that, man. That looks like fun.
Well, I tell you, one of the questions that I'm sure that once people find out that you fish, they want to know how you got started fishing. How did you end up fishing?
Well, like I said, I grew up in Florida. We lived on the water when I was younger, and I had a little boat, and I used to go out by myself, and I did a lot of bass fishing when I was younger, and then my folks kind of moved all around, and they wound up down in Key Largo, and I wound up doing a lot of fishing down there. I was a big snapper fishing. I loved to catch red snapper, and then as I got older, I got into catching sharks. I love to catch sharks and barracuda and all kind of fish. So, I've been fishing a long time. I got away from it for a while, because then I started playing golf, but now I can't play golf anymore. So I got back into fishing, and I absolutely have fallen in love with it again.
Well, that is fantastic here. Now, I heard you said you did a little bass fishing, a little saltwater fishing. If you had to pick between the two, which one would it be?
I think, I love saltwater fishing because, when we go out, you catch a whole variety of different fish, and you never really know what you're going to catch, when you're trolling or, when you're catching dolphin, you might catch a wahoo, you might catch a tuna. I mean, you just never know what you're going to catch, and the thrill of how big it is, jumping out of the water and stuff like that. I like the challenge of saltwater fishing. I like to bass fish. When I was younger, I used to take my boat and go out in the glades and, go down the dikes and stuff like that and catch bass. But, I just like the thrill of saltwater fishing a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, and plus with Florida, you've got easy access to both fresh and saltwater. But if you're like us, we love the saltwater fish, but if we're freshwater fishing, we're definitely not. We're definitely excited as well. We love to fish, but I think we tend to lean a little bit more towards saltwater ourselves. But we definitely love the freshwater fishing as well.
Oh yeah, I did all kind of freshwater fishing. When I lived in Georgia, we used to catch redbreast and, pike and, all kind of fish like that, and then of course down in Florida, it's bass. You go out in the glades and you really never know what kind of size bass, you're going to catch. And back in the early 60s, you know, before it got all grown up, I mean, we used to go out there and we'd catch all kinds of bass in one day, you know, because back then, you know, the weeds weren't grown up. You know, they had just like, you know, you had rocks and you could actually walk down to the, you know, to the water a little bit closer. Now it's kind of all built up, so you got to have a little bit of a boat before you get out and start walking around down there with the snakes and stuff like that. But, you know, I used to fish all the time for bass, but, you know, I just like the thrill of, you know, saltwater fishing. You never know how big a fish you're going to catch, you know, and it's just, it's a challenge, and I really love it.
Now, Price and I were talking about this earlier. You know, obviously you've had a wonderful major league career, and as you were playing, you know, Major League Baseball, do you get much of a chance to do a lot of fishing when you were playing?
No, I didn't. You know, I mean, when I was playing, your career kind of takes over. You know, you do a little bit in the wintertime, but I didn't do as much when I was playing during my career. You know, I did mostly when I was younger, and then, you know, I did a little bit, you know, during my playing career, but not as much. And then, you know, after my playing career, I kind of got back into it. But then like I said, you know, I started playing golf, and that kind of took up most of my time until I got the bug of fishing again. You know, I went out a few years ago. I took my son, who was home, you know, he was playing for the Gators, and he came home, and we went back down the marathon, and we went out and we got into a big school of dolphin, and we just killed them. And I got the bug again, and I just, you know, said, okay, if I can't play golf anymore, this is what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to take off and start going fishing, and going to try and catch, you know, like I caught a sailfish on my birthday this year, and then I said, okay, my next bucket list one, I want to catch a marlin. I want to try and catch a marlin, you know, so that's my next goal.
Now, Jay, Bucky and I were talking a little earlier about other baseball players that we know that fish, and a name that came up that everybody probably knows from back in the 80s and 90s is Wade Boggs. Wade, we see Wade quite a bit at ICAST, and from my understanding, Wade is an avid fisherman.
Oh, yeah. You know, I talked to him. I honored him at my golf tournament a couple of years ago, and we got to talking about it. And he does a lot of fishing. Lou Piniella does a lot of fishing also. And, you know, I like all kinds of fishing. You know, I had a chance to go out to Star Valley this year and do some fly fishing, you know, catch some big trout. I'd fly fished, you know, a few years ago when I was younger, and but, you know, I mean, I just like all kinds of fishing. I like the experience. I like being outdoors. You know, I like the challenge. You never know what you're going to catch. You know how big a fish you're going to catch, and it's just fun. You know, I mean, it's relaxing. You know, when you got the beautiful salt water, you're out in the ocean, and then you're fly fishing on a beautiful lake. You know, and you got the mountains, and you got eagles flying around. It's just soothing, and it's relaxing, and it's a whole lot of fun.
Now, Bucky, I'm trying to picture a fishing trip on the, you know, beautiful Florida, a fishing trip with you, Bucky Dent, and Lou Piniella. What in the world? How would that conversation go? Because Lou seems like you'd have a lot of fishing stories.
Oh, that would be an absolute blast. You know, he keeps trying to get me to go over. You know, he goes out all the time. You know, he lives over in Tampa, and he goes out and he catches all kind of fish, and you know, he keeps bugging me to come over with him and go out, but I haven't had the chance to. But he's got the bug too. I mean, he's been fishing a lot and for a long time, and yeah, that would be a lot of fun to go out with him fishing.
I like to see Lou Piniella get mad at a fish.
Oh, me too.
No, that would be a sight to see.
I think he could throw some stuff overboard, don't you? Like the cooler and the rod and all that.
Yeah,
the fish is now the umpire. So
that's it.
Right.
That's it.
Well, you know, that actually leads me to my next question. It says, you know, what habits do you carry over from baseball to fishing, if any? And you know, with obviously the cooler throwing and getting mad at fish for Lou. But I mean, is there anything that you find that you take over from your baseball career into fishing?
Oh, I think it's the competitiveness, you know, of you know, when you get out there, man, you just want to get after it, and you want to catch a big fish. You know, when I go in the water, I concentrate, you know, and I just really you know, get after it. I want to catch a fish, and I want to catch a big one. You know, I whatever we're trying to catch, dolphin, wahoo, sailfish. You know, it's just fun. And the first time a couple weeks ago when I caught my sailfish, I kite fished. That's the first time I ever been out kite fishing, and I absolutely enjoyed that. I mean, you got to really pay attention, but I really enjoyed that. But just the competitiveness of being on the water, and especially if you're with people, you got a little bet going. Hey, I'm going to catch the biggest one. No, you're not. I'm going to catch the biggest one. I think that's it. But the overall competitive spirit of trying to catch the biggest fish.
Yeah, that definitely would make sense. But if you and Lou and Wade Boggs went fishing, I mean, who do you think would catch the bigger fish? Talking about the competitiveness.
Me.
Good answer.
Me.
Good answer.
Of course.
My next question is, would Lou get mad?
Oh yeah, he'd get mad.
He would splash water
funny.
and throw dirt. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so. Yeah, for people, when we put this, when we post this, you'll see a great picture that Bucky shared with us of that sailfish that he caught, and so you got to check that out. That was a beautiful fish, and you definitely going to have to check that picture out. And then, like you're saying, you had some nice trout pictures I saw the other day. So man, you sure know how to get on the fish.
Oh man, I tell you what, going out. I'd never been out to Wyoming. That was on my bucket list, and one of the organization's Sons of Baseball, who does great things, for kids, with experiences. They invited us out, because they had a big banquet, and Fergie Jenkins was going to be a speaker, Rudy was going to be a speaker, and Fergie actually couldn't go, so I wound up, speaking for him. But they took us out to Star Valley, to this beautiful, beautiful trout farm, and it was just like heaven. The mountains got snow on them. In the morning we're standing out there with a cup of coffee, you see a big bald eagle fly down and pull one out of the water, and and just to fly fish, and it's just so much enjoyment and relaxation that I mean, that's the first time I've been out in that country, and I definitely would like to go back and do it again.
Speaking of location, is there kind of a bucket list place that you would think that you would want to go fishing that you haven't experienced yet?
Probably, like I said, I'd love to catch a marlin, whether I go to Hawaii and try it, or, Cabo, or any other place that, I feel like I can wind up catching a marlin. I would love, to try and do that.
Now, any other fish on your bucket list besides the marlin that you want to catch, or want to add to that bucket list?
No, I mean, sailfish, but I think a marlin. That would be something that I really, really love the challenge of catching. I've caught 1,000-pound tiger shark. Like I said, when I was younger, I used to shark fish all the time. And I wound up down a marathon catching a 1,000-pound tiger, and it took me 3 hours to get him in. I felt like it was Jaws, because they tied the barrels on, and every time they'd shoot him with the shotgun, he'd run 250 yards out and have to crank him in. And it wound up taking me 3 hours to get him in, but it was like a 12-footer, like 1,000 pounds. I mean, it was a big one. But, just catching a marlin, I see it on TV all the time. It was kind of like something I always wanted to do. So that's on my bucket list next, to go someplace and try and catch a marlin.
Now, have you ever had the opportunity to fish in any fishing tournaments or charity events?
No, not any tournaments. I haven't been in any of those. Charity events. I did a couple, little charity events, fishing and stuff like that. But no, I haven't been in any tournaments. The gentleman that took me out and I caught the sailfish. He does a lot of tournament fishing, catching sail and stuff like that. So. Maybe he'll invite me to do that, because I thought that was really neat, kite fishing for sail. I mean, that was pretty cool. And actually, they just got the kites up. We weren't out in the water for 20 minutes, and the sailfish hit. And, I fought him around the boat, and he jumped up about 8 or 10 times, and we got him in and took a picture, and then we wound up letting him go. But I thought that was just really cool.
Yeah, there's definitely in the Florida area. There are a lot of sailfish tournaments, and it's definitely a lot of fun. That's something that Price and I wouldn't mind doing ourselves, going there and doing a little sailfishing in Florida this winter. It sounds like it's been picking up.
Well, now, where's your favorite place you've been to fish? Let me ask you that.
Man, I tell you what, I'll be completely honest with you. I think I'm going to go with North Carolina, and the reason I say that is we have a fishery 12 months a year here. I've traveled and fished, all the way from North Carolina to Mississippi, and I've enjoyed every location I've fished. But I like it here because we have a 12-month fishery. We've got everything from bluefin to blue marlin to flounder to trout to redfish. It's an amazing fishery, and North Carolina really has a lot to offer in the fishing department.
Oh, wow. You know, the other place that I went down on the Grand Turk Islands when I was down there on vacation, I did go out, and I went with the famous guy that used to take Ted Williams out all the time bone fishing. And I thought that was a blast also. When we were going out, I'm talking to the guy, and it was a little choppy that day, and we're kind of going, and I said, what are you looking for? And he goes, mud. I go, mud? He starts laughing. He goes, yeah, you'll see it when we get close. And all of a sudden, you see this big patch of mud. And he goes around, and they have these like little coral, jigs on there. And he says, okay, just throw it out there in the mud and jig it across there. And I like 2 seconds after I threw it out there, I got a bonefish. And I thought that was a lot of fun too, And but this guy used to take Ted fishing all the time, and he was down in Grand Turk Islands. But I thought that was a lot of fun too, bone fishing.
Yeah, and my favorite freshwater place to fish has been Lake Erie, Lake Ontario area. We do a media event up here, and the Lake Erie fishery for smallmouth is absolutely amazing.
Wow.
And I actually had never fished up there, Bucky, until we went up there for these media events, and we've been doing it about 4 or 5 years now, and the fishery in that area in the May time frame is absolutely amazing.
Wow. That sounds like fun. My other goal is to go to Alaska and go fishing up there.
The two places to go fishing for me, I haven't been to fish in Alaska or Prince Edward Island. I'd like to go for the bluefin up in Prince Edward Island. Oh,
that sounds fun. Yeah, one of my other buddies, he does a lot of fishing down here, and he caught a 700-pound bluefin. I think he was out close to the Bahamas or someplace, but it was a big fish. But yeah, that sounds like a fun thing to do. Because I know catching the blackfin, we ran into some blackfin down on the Keys when I was down there a couple months ago, and those were a lot of fun. When they start schooling, they start running. Hitting on top of the water, you can just throw a big old lure out there and they whack it, and they're a lot of fun. 20-pound blackfin, they fight like crazy. I just enjoyed that too.
Yeah, Price and I have a trip that we're going to do this coming year to Crocodile Bay in Costa Rica. So that's something that'll be exciting. So hopefully we'll find some billfish while we're down there as well.
Oh, that sounds like fun. That's the other place somebody told me to go, Costa Rica. Go down there and do some fishing. They said that's a lot of fun down there. Ron Davis tried to get me to go with him someplace down there and catch those big peacock bass. He goes down there a lot and fishes for peacock bass, and I never did get a chance to go with him.
Yeah, they have a phenomenal fishery in Costa Rica. So once we get down there, who knows? Maybe that might be our number one destination. It might be North Carolina at that point, right?
You know what? Any place I can catch a fish is my favorite spot. As long as I throw a hook in the water and I can catch a fish, I'm good to go.
I know, the same here. Actually, I went fishing yesterday afternoon, so that's probably why I said North Carolina, because I caught fish yesterday.
Good. What'd you catch?
The trout are running here. The speckled trout are really thick here right now. So we had we caught about 20 of them yesterday evening.
Wow. Back when I was with the White Sox over in Sarasota, Wilbur Wood, Wilbur Wood and I used to go speckled trout fishing right off the bridge going over to St. Armand's Circle. You know, we'd get done early, and, you know, he'd say, come on, let's go. We'd go over there, and there was a little, you know, place on the other side of the bridge that we could rent a little boat, and we'd get a little skiff, and we'd go out there, and they had some really nice grass flats out there. And we used to drift out there, and we'd catch in the afternoon, you know, we'd catch 10 or 12, you know, speckled trout, and they were a lot of fun to catch too, you know. And it was just, you know, it's just so relaxing, you know, in the afternoon, you know, when the sun's going down and it's nice and calm, and you're just out there fishing and having a good time and catching fish, you know. But, you know, the speckled trout, they're a lot of fun to catch too.
They are. And right now it's the perfect time for us. The speckled trout fishery has been really amazing this year for us. So I had to take advantage of some time and get out there and catch the fish, and definitely had an awesome time. Now, Bucky, one of the things I was going to ask you is, I was trying to think if you knew of a story that you think of, you know, when you're playing baseball, and any unusual or funny story that you came across, whether it's fishing related or not, while you were playing baseball. Anything that sticks out that's kind of, you know, kind of funny, or, you know, whatever it may be that you remember from your days.
Oh man, I just can't. You know, there's so many, you know, funny stories. You know, I played with so many great players, and, you know, the years that I was in New York, you know, from '77 on, you know, with the great players and the championship teams and the guys, you know, I mean, we had a lot of guys that were characters, you know, and my homie Mickey Rivers was one of the funniest guys that, you know, that I played with, and some of the things that he did, you know, I mean, like jumping on the car in the bullpen, you know, when Goose got traded over, you know, we played together in Chicago, and then all of a sudden he came over and he got off to a little bit of a shaky start, and then one night, you know, we're in New York, and you know, the little car used to bring the relief pitcher in, a little Toyota car. You know, Mickey was standing out in center field, and Goose had given up a couple home runs and lost some games for us. And so, you know, when they went to bring him in, he kind of went over and jumped on the car and said, "No, don't bring this guy in. We're trying to win," you know. So, I mean, you know, but Mickey was such a, you know, a great teammate, and I loved him to death. And, you know, but, you know, those guys in that time, you know, with Sparky Lyle, you know, Sparky Lyle was such a, you know, a prankster, and I'm sure you heard of the stories that he used to sit in the birthday cakes, you know, when they'd send these big sheet cakes down, you know, for birthdays for the guys, you know, he'd go sit in them and stuff like that. So, I mean, we had some fun times, you know, Catfish Hunter and Lou, and the bus rides were always hilarious because, you know, it'd be kind of quiet, and all of a sudden Catfish would start on Lou, and then Lou would come back at Catfish, you know, talking about it from being from North Carolina and driving a tractor when Lou drive a Mercedes, you know, and stuff like that. So, I mean, there were so many funny stories that you could tell. It was just a lot of fun playing in that time in New York with all those guys.
Yeah, if you look back at I mean, especially in 1978, I mean, you guys had a special team, but if people went back and look at that roster, I mean, it is top down. It is just an amazing roster when you look at some of the individuals that were on that team. I mean, when I was just kind of doing some research on this, it just kind of made me reminisce. I joke with people, I'm a big Yankees fan. And, you know, of course, being from North Carolina, everybody's an Atlanta Braves fan. And I was an Atlanta Braves. I was a big Del Murphy guy, but I've always been fond of the Yankees. I love the pinstripes. Not giving away my age to anybody, but in the 70s, I was born in 73. And everybody sees me wearing Yankee shirts and hats and all that. And somebody was like, "Oh, you're just one of those bandwagon Yankees fans." I'm like, "Nope, I'm not." And they said, "Well, how long have you been a Yankees?" I said, "Listen, I've been a Yankees." I said, "I remember Bucky Dent." And they're like, "What?" And then, you know, you bring up your name because, again, I'm born in 73. When I was a child, I loved the pinstripes. I loved the Yankees logo. And, of course, who can forget in 1978 the famous home run? And, I mean, from there, I mean, I always tell, and to this day, the mutual friend that we have, the first time I met him, you know, he goes, "Oh, I see you're a Yankees fan." I'm like, "I am a Yankees fan." I said, "I've been a Yankees fan since Bucky Dent's been there." And, I mean, that's what I tell all my friends. They always crack up, and they know from that statement I'm a true Yankees fan.
Oh, yeah. You came in the right time, you know, like 77. Well, 76, they got beat by the Big Red Machine, and
Yeah.
but I was fortunate enough to get traded over there in 77 and play in the era, with the great players, and talking about that 78 team, we had Chambliss at first, we had Willie at second, I played short, Nettles, of course Munson was behind the plate, and we had Piniella and Roy White in left, and Rivers at center, and Jackson and right, and we had some great pitchers, Guidry that year was like 25-3, and we had Catfish Hunter and guys like that. So that was a tremendous team. It was a tremendous time to play, and that was a fun time because Yankees had been down for such a long time until 76, and then all of a sudden we 76, 77, 78, actually 79 we could have won if we hadn't lost Munson, and of course 80 and then 81 we lost in the World Series, but those were great years, fun years.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say, looking at fishing, have you ever experienced, I guess, from that home run in 78, have you ever experienced a moment like that ever again as far as, like, just something, so instant and so exciting? I mean, that was just earth-shattering what you did.
Well, no, not really. I mean, that was, sports is a game of moments. And, I think every kid that ever played sports has some kind of a moment where he's in the backyard or doing something. Mickey Mantle, when I was growing up, was my hero. He was the guy, when I was in the backyard, I'm Mickey Mantle. I don't care who you guys are, I'm Mickey Mantle. And, you dream of, playing in a big game, hitting a home run, 3-2, bases loaded, 2 outs, hitting one in the trees, for a home run. And I got a chance to experience that, a dream as a kid, it came true. And, that was a big moment. It was a big part of, Yankee history. And, I feel honored that I was able to, to do that. And, God bless me. And, I'm just, thrilled to be able to be a part of that team and that organization, with the tradition, that they have and the great players that have come through there. And, but no, I haven't experienced anything, other than, my kids being born or, something like that. But,
sure.
Those are a thrill. But as far as sports, that was a pretty big thrill.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you Google Bucky's name, I mean, that home run is going to come up first in every search. And so,
yeah, I wound up getting a middle initial out of it, too.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're right about that. You are right. You are so right. Yeah.
Well, Bucky, as you know, Price and I are brothers, and Price called me. He's like, "Man, you're never gonna believe this." He's like, Bucky Dent. I said, "Yeah." He's like, "He's a fisherman, man. He loves to fish," and it was like, "This is awesome." So it's fantastic when we found out that you love to fish. We're like, "Man, we'd love to have him on the show to talk to us about fishing." I mean, it's awesome, and obviously we're sports fans as well, so it's something that it's awesome to be able to sit here and talk to you about the experience of fishing and what you look forward to do with your fishing as well. But as we have a lot of kids, a lot of junior anglers that listen to the show and they follow a lot what we do. But to hear you talk about being in the backyard, having that dream and talking about it, what advice would you give to kids today, whether they're looking to play professional sports or fish professionally or fish on a team, whatever it may be? What advice would you give them to get to that point?
Well, I think it starts with a dream. Every kid, whether, you're dreaming of being the best bass fisherman, in a tournament or whatever, I think it all starts, with a dream. And then you start trying to fulfill that dream. You start chasing it, and I just say work hard, I mean, work ethic, and, just staying after what you're chasing, like you say, some guys, have gone on to be great fishermen. You got these guys that are great bass fishermen. I'm sure they started, when they were young, with a fishing pole, dreaming of catching some big fish, and all of a sudden it just kept going on and on and on to where, they got to where they were, and that's what happened to me. I was a sports fanatic when I was 7 years old. I actually loved football more than I did baseball, but it all started with that vision, that vision of, hey, someday I want to play, football or I want to be a baseball player, I want to be a professional athlete. And I never let anything waver me from that. You know, it's like you get tunnel vision and you say, this is where I'm going, you know, and this is what I want to do. So, you know, that's the advice that I give kids is, you know, it starts with a dream and follow it. And, you know, but I also, you know, point out to kids, you know, that when they're chasing that, it's a lot different now than, you know, when I was growing up. You know, it used to be, you know, you could take the best athlete and get them into school. And I say now it's not like that. You know, you got to make your grades. You got to stay in school. You know, you got to do things right. You know, and today there's so much more opportunity for kids. You know, the physical training, all the things that, you know, the nutritional value. You know, all the changes in athletics, you know, with the off-season training and stuff like that. There's so much more out there for them to be successful, and they just got to want it, and they got to, you know, focus on it and chase that dream.
Well, that's definitely fantastic advice, and I think a lot of kids need to hear that these days. That, you know, you were a kid too that had that dream, that pictured yourself doing exactly what you did. So you know, you were able to dream it, you were able to live it, and now you're able to talk about it, and they hopefully are listening to what it takes to get there. No matter whatever it is they do, sports or fishing or whatever, fishing or baseball, football, doesn't matter. That you were that same kid that had the dream, and hopefully they can do the same.
You know, and the other thing that I tell them, you know, is like what happened to me. You know, you're going to run across a lot. You know, sports is a lot of negativities. You know, you're going to hear a lot of people say, well, you're too small, you're too slow, you're too this, you're too that. You know, sports is all about really, you know, they talk about what you can't do. And you have to block all that out. You know, I went through that when I was growing up. You know, they said I was too small. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that, you know. And it just made me more determined to prove that I could do it, you know. And that's the other thing I try to tell kids is that, you know, look, you know, you're going to run into a lot of that. You got to block it out, and you just got to keep pushing forward and keep working to get better. And if you got to take 1,000 ground balls a day, you know, to get better, to make your hands better, or you got to do whatever you got to do, that's what you have to do. You got to keep following it until somebody says, listen, you're just not good enough, or, you know, you're too small. But, you know, I believe, you know, that if you got the insides and you got the heart, and you can fulfill what you're going after.
Well, Bucky, I know that you're still active. Can you tell people what you're doing right now? Obviously, you're enjoying retirement. You fish a lot. What else do you do? I know you're involved with some charity events and good causes. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Well, you know, I do a whole lot of different things. You know, I have 2 golf tournaments. It's, you know, as a matter of fact, my one's coming in January. I just had one in Reynolds Plantation down outside of Atlanta, a beautiful place, Ritz-Carlton Lake Oconee course, where I think they have some pretty big bass fishing tournaments down there. But we run that tournament for St. Mary's, the hospital down there, and I've been doing the one in Florida in January. It's called Legends on the Links, the Bucky Invitational. I've been doing it for 33 years, and we have, you know, given out money to all different kind of charities. But this one we're focusing on. I lost my wife in October of 2015 to a brain tumor, and it's called Embrace with Love, and, you know, all the proceeds are going to go to that. And what we do, one of her visions was to help cancer patients. We give out blankets, not only just blankets, but, you know, we donate money to, like, Sons of Baseball for different causes. But her big thing was, you know, blankets. When she was getting her chemo treatments, she noticed, you know, my son's wife's mother gave her a real pretty blanket to keep her warm, you know, because she could be in there for an hour and a half or 2 hours. And she came home and she said, this is what I want to do. I want to start a charity, and I want to give out blankets to people that when they're getting their chemo treatments. And so we came up with the name of Embrace with Love, so we can wrap people up with love as they go through their treatment, because it's a lonely time. And so over the past year, that's what I've kind of been doing, fulfilling her dream. And we've given out probably close to 700-800 blankets to different hospitals all over. And it's been very, very heartwarming and very fulfilling to be able to do that. So that's one of the things that I've been pushing forward doing this year.
Well, that is awesome, and we'll make sure to share the links and information to both those great causes, and man, that's really great, and that sounds, love that you're giving back, and it just sounds just like very good causes.
Yeah, I mean, and we just partnered with, like I said, Sons of Baseball, which is a fantastic organization. We just partnered with them this year, where they bring kids, give them an experience at a major league park, and they did their first one at Yankee Stadium this year, and we brought a young boy down there and took him down on the field, and one of his best all-time favorite players was Brett Gardner, and as we walked out on the field, Brett Gardner was taking batting practice, so Joe Girardi came over and took him out there and introduced him to him, and then we took him up into the museum. It was just really a great experience, and it's heartwarming to see these kids that are struggling a little bit to be able to walk out on the field and meet some major league players and take away their pain and for a day and make them happy. So I thought that that was a tremendous organization. I'm glad to be a part of that one also.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you said that. That's I actually had a chance to take my son. We travel to New York once a year for Labor Day, and I actually took him to his first Yankees game this year, and just the excitement of, one, being at Yankee Stadium, and then two, obviously experience the Yankees, seeing the Yankees, all the names that you hear about, you see on TV, you hear on the radio, you read about them in the newspaper and all that. And we got to experience up close. I grew up, I love A-Rod. I know A-Rod's had his issues the last several years, but one of the moments that we love so much is we got to witness A-Rod hit a home run in person, and just the joy and just his excitement from that experience was amazing. And I can't imagine the smiles and how happy kids who don't have necessarily the opportunity to go to a major league stadium or experience a game like that up close. I can't imagine what a great experience that is for those kids.
It's exciting for us too to see the smile on a kid's face, for the first time, to be down on the field, to shake hands with A-Rod, Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, and they were all so gracious. And Joe Girardi was just phenomenal. I mean, he wound up giving them, his seats like 10 rows behind the dugout, so they got the experience sitting behind the dugout real close, But when you do that, and you see kids light up, and you talk about Yankee Stadium and. I remember, the first time that I got a chance to go in Yankee Stadium and walk in, the locker room when I got traded over there, was, Mantle was my hero. And then the next thing I know, I'm at Old Timers game in 77 with, Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Whitey Ford, Joe DiMaggio, Yogi Berra, all these guys that you see, they're all right there, and you get to meet them, and you get to talk to them, and that's what Old Timers Day is about, and that's what the Yankees are about. They still do it right every year, and it's a lot of fun. But to see the smile on kids' face, it's heartwarming.
Yeah, that is totally awesome. That is really, really cool. Well, Bucky, I tell you what, you've fulfilled one of my bucket lists, man. This has been awesome talking to you and having an opportunity to, I'm glad that we made the connection here. And I mean, this has been wonderful, especially as somebody who grew up as a Yankees fan, of course, since Bucky Dent era. And
there you go.
I mean,
you wear number 20? Now you got to tell me, did you wear number 20?
I wore number 7 actually, and we know who number 7 was.
That was my hero, Mantle. That was his number. So I'm going to cut you some slack on that. But now I'm going to have to make you take me fishing for that one.
Well, you know what? Listen, I was going to say, you got an open invitation. Next time you come to the Carolinas, I mean, we're going to set up a fishing trip, and I'm telling you, we'll send you some of those videos. You got to see some of these fish that Jay's been catching lately. And so he can some of those pictures I shared with you, he can take you to those spots. And so, but yeah, I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Lou Piniella, Wade Boggs, and Bucky Dent on a boat still. And I want to.
Hey. I'm in. Call me. I'm in.
Hey, listen, if we could get that set up, wow.
Bucky, we have an excellent marlin fishery too here as well, so we might be able to check some bucket list items off as well.
There you go. I'd love to do that. Actually, I'm coming to North Carolina in February to speak in Goldsboro for Jerry Nairn, a good buddy of mine who is a teammate, and I coach for him in Cincinnati with the Reds. I'm speaking at a banquet for his hot stove league in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Well, heck, you're not going to be far from us.
That's only about an hour and a half away from us.
Well, if you want to come on down to the to the banquet. But anytime you want to go fishing, you just let me know. I'm in.
Well, Bucky, we can't thank you enough again.
Yeah, we'll definitely put something together. But we definitely thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and it's been a pleasure to reminisce back to the days of you playing professional baseball. I mean, what an amazing experience. And then to find out that you fish too. Price and I were just we were over the moon at that point. We're like, man, he even fishes. That is amazing. But thank you once again for joining us, and we definitely look forward to getting together with you and hopefully being able to check some of the bucket list item off.
Well, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed talking to you guys, and you guys have a wonderful Christmas and and a very happy and healthy New Year, and hopefully we can go throw a hook in the water.
We look forward to it.
Awesome.
We'll definitely be in touch.
All right, guys. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, Bucky. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, New York Yankee great Bucky Dent. Price, I tell you, I'm excited. I mean, to be able to talk to Bucky and hear about those experiences, and as you said, I mean, those are the players that we grew up with. I mean, we heard about those players and watched games, and well, I mean, some of us were not that old yet, but I'm just gonna put that out there, Price, that you are the oldest.
Well, yeah, I think I gave that away on that interview. But you're so right. I mean, what an opportunity. I mean, I've grown up a baseball guy. I follow baseball. And then on top of that, I'm a Yankees fan from North Carolina, which is ironic. But, when I found out that Bucky was a fisherman, I reached out to him. And I got to tell you, since the first communications with Bucky, I mean, he has been fantastic. I mean, what a nice guy. You couldn't have asked for a nicer guy because, when you're dealing with athletes and people who've had some stardom and success, we can tell you even from the fishing industry, some people are just not pleasant and not nice sometimes. They got egos and you got to deal with and all that. And let me tell you what, Bucky has been fantastic. He's been great. He said he'd love to talk with us. And just to be able to listen to him, just sitting back here and listening to those stories. And anybody who's listening, and if you've never heard the name Bucky Dent, just go to YouTube or Google and put in Bucky Dent. He's probably got the famous New York Yankees home run of all time, in my opinion. If you don't know, they were playing the Boston Red Sox in 1978, and that was one of the years that they had an identical record. They were tied for the end of the season to see who was going to be the higher seed, and guess what? Mr. Bucky Dent came up to the plate and smacked this wonderful home run that, if you see sports memorabilia, you'll see he still signs pictures of him swinging the bat and the pitcher that threw against him. That's some famous memorabilia right there. But what a pleasure, what an honor, and Jay, what a way to kick off this, kind of this special segment of podcast with a sports professional. This is the perfect one to start with.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. For more information, show notes, updates, or to join the saltwater fishing community, visit PointClickFish.com. Don't forget to catch live streams and future shows at saltwaterfishingradio.com. Until next time, thanks for listening. Stay safe on the water and tight lines.